Boker Tov. Shalom, everyone. 5 days ago, like many of you, I left my home in Israel and flew over to be here in this amazing conference. At this point, I feel great, but I miss my family very much. Now, I know this may come out as a little soft, especially from the tough Israeli guy standing in front of you right now. But it's true, and I think I know why it's true. I mean, it's obviously true because I love my family very much, but there's another reason. The other reason is that at this point in my life, being a husband and a father is probably the strongest element of my identity. Being a Hillel director, very strong element of my identity as well. I know what it means to me. I carry it with me. Being Israeli, wow, way up there. Once again, it's around me, it's with me, it's built, it's solid. Being Jewish, all right. It gets a little tricky. I mean, I know I'm Jewish. I'm a Jewish father of 3 children. I'm a Jewish Hillel director. Most of us are. I'm a Jewish Israeli. That's what we do in that country. But is it a standalone thing? Is it something, an identity that I can feel? Now, I see your faces here and thinking, what is he talking about? And you're right. I mean, I am this Israeli guy. I mean, we're supposed to be born with a Jewish identity, or at least get it right there in the hospital with the baby shots. I live in Israel, I speak Hebrew, I swear to God I fast on Yom Kippur every day since my bar mitzvah. How can I ask whether I have a Jewish identity? Of course I have a Jewish identity. Baruch Hashem. Hakol beseder. I have one because I've been a Jewish professional for the past 20 years, so I've developed one. But 20 years ago, it hadn't been the case. And it is not the case today if you go back to our campuses in Israel. Ask a Jewish secular Israeli student, what is Jewish about you? And the answer many times will be, ask them, what is Judaism for you? And they say, well, Judaism is not for me. Judaism is a religion. I'm not religious. End of story. Next question. I'm out. Guys, the most significant challenge of Israeli secular students on our campuses today is that they miss out on the holistic Jewish story. They have a very preset, narrow idea of what it means to be Jewish, and all the rest is a huge blind spot. Let me try to explain. When I was 22, I just got discharged from 4 years of service in the IDF. It was a Friday afternoon in my parents' home in Jerusalem when my mother came into the room and she was holding a newspaper, laying it in front of me and saying, Aloni, she calls me Aloni up until today. My kids think it's a riot. Take a look at this. There's an ad here. You have decent English. Maybe you'll find it interesting. In the newspaper, there was an ad saying, Young Judea, we're looking to hire Israelis as counselors for groups of American Jewish U.S. college students coming to Israel for a few weeks during the summer for educational tourism. I applied. I got the job. A couple of months later, I found myself running around my entire country with my group of American Jewish college students. It was amazing. I got to show them my country, teach them my language, share my views with them. I was the educator. They were the students. It was a great, great experience. When the 5 weeks were gone, I went to the airport with them, escorted them to the airport, and as they were going up the escalator to take the plane back to the US, I went downstairs, took the bus, went back to Jerusalem. I remember this bus ride very well because for the first time after 5 hectic weeks of sleep deprivation and high adrenaline and whatnot, suddenly I had a moment for myself. And as the bus was taking that winding road up to the capital, ding, a light bulb went on above my head. For the first time in my life, I realized that there are many ways to be Jewish. For the first time in my life, I realized that there are many ways to feel Jewish, and it has nothing to do with how much of the halachic law you actually observe. Mikol melamdai hiskalti, ach mitalmidai yoter mikulan. I have learned from all of my educators, but from my students, I have learned the most. At this point in life, I started developing the Jewish identity that I proudly own today. It is a Jewish identity that is based on my sense of belonging to our Jewish people, on the role that we as Jews play on this planet, on our set of values, on our tradition, our heritage, our customs. And you know, the interesting thing is that during a letter exchange in the following months with my students back in America, letters, real ones, envelopes, stamps, remember? I realized that for many of them, they started only developing a Jewish identity once having that encounter with Israel. Let me ask you a question. Well, before that, I'll tell you. Living in Israel today, living in Israel today is like living in a perfect Jewish Truman Show. You know why? Because everything is preset for you. The Jewish state has decided what it means to live Jewishly. And you just need to show up. Don't worry about anything. Being an Israeli, just show up. You don't worry about essence. You don't need to bring anything from home. Just be there. Come on and sail right through it. And here's the question I wanted to ask you. How is it here in America? Isn't it exactly the other way around? I mean, here there's no Jewish background at all. Everything that's Jewish has to come from within. You have to create it. Here you don't have to be any type of Jewish unless you want to. In fact, you need to really want to if you want to live like one. So what is your Jewish student's blind spot? What are they missing out? Could it be that they're missing out on a real connection with Israel? Or if I can rephrase that, could it be that they're missing out on a connection with real Israel? Israel, the place, not the issue. Israel, where Jewish students wake up in the morning, go to school, come back, go to work, deal with substantial topics. Not Israel, the headline on New York Times. Not Israel, the 6-second sound bites on CNN.com. In this room right now, there are more years of Jewish professional experience than the years that the Jewish people actually exist. Simple math. There are more than 3,000 years of Jewish professional experience in this room right now. I would like, with your permission, to take advantage of that profound setting and ask you to join me on a little experiment that I've developed recently. I call it the Jewish selfie experiment. Imagine that on your phones, there's a special app. When you take a selfie using that special app, only what's Jewish in the frame is going to show up. Everything else is going to be blank. All right? Only what's Jewish in you and around you is going to be showing up on the picture. All the rest is going to be blank. So, for example, if I take a Jewish selfie with my special app, my hidden obsession with collecting electric trains will not show up in the picture. But my Hebrew middle name will. You understand, right? Come on. Take your imaginary cell phones out. Take a selfie with me for 5 seconds. Go. Beautiful. Thank you very much. I urge you to go back to those selfies afterwards and check them out. You'll find amazing things. But for now, let's just go back to our students. So the Israeli student took this Jewish selfie. We see tons of stuff in the background, right? But what are we going to see here in the middle? Not sure. It might be a little blurry, maybe even blank. Now, the American student took the same selfie. Nothing in the background. It's a Jewish desert out there. But everything that's Jewish is going to come and be right here in the figure. Now, what happens if we take these two pictures and we stick them together, overlapping each other? We're going to be getting a complete Jewish picture. Because we took the many ways of living Jewishly together with the only place in the world where living Jewishly is the national culture, and we put them together. Now, do you remember the days, the pre-selfie era, where in order to have your picture taken, you actually had to hand out your camera to someone and have them take your picture for you? If you take my picture, and if I take your picture for you, I'm becoming immediately an active partner in creating your image. I am framing you. I get to decide how you're going to look like. I have to acknowledge how you stand, what you do, what you bring with you. I can decide that you're going to be in the side of the frame or the middle, zoom in, zoom out, flash, wide angle, whatever. We're doing it together. It would be great if our Jewish students in Israel and in the United States would have been able to take parts of their Jewish journeys together. Because then they would be able to frame each other Jewishly. They would acknowledge each other's identities. The challenge of one could be the opportunity of the other. They would then be able to shed light on each other's blind spots. Wouldn't it be so much better than each and every one of their communities taking their trips together with a pathetic selfie stick? We cannot let another generation of students go by on 2 different continents, running 2 separate monologues, 5,000 miles away from each other. Because these monologues are just going to be drifting away, apart, away and away from each other until they will reach, and they will reach, full disconnect. The next generation of Jewish students, next generation of Jewish leadership, is on our campuses in 2 continents right now. Let's bring them together. Thank you very much.
מתעורר האדם בבוקר ומרגיש כי הוא עם, הוא מתחיל